Hello, YouTube. As you've probably guessed by my pajamas, I'm once again doing this right as I wake up. But I've been putting it off for long enough, and y'all are bitching like mad, so here you go. Fucking first thing I do when I wake up today. And by the way, it's actually really annoying when you guys send me repeated messages. There's like two people doing it in particular. I only watch your channel for 50 Shades. You need to upload. Well, if you watched my other uploads, you would see why I'm not doing 50 Shades. And just a hint, just watch the first minute and a half of my day 6 and you'll see why. And I think it's a completely valid reason. Anyway, those of you just joining us, my little fucking rant at the end of chapter 9 was, shit, it's my mother! And Christian has this tendency to just, like, say stupid stuff. And by the way, like, I normally take notes. Like, I don't know if you can see this because my webcam's being weird, and you can't see the highlighting that I have on here because of everything. I didn't take any notes in chapter 10, just because I didn't feel like it, and I thought, maybe it would be easier for me to do this reading if I wasn't constantly highlighting things. So, at the end of chapter 9, they're getting it on his bed, and then his mother pops out of nowhere, and at the beginning of chapter 10, he, like, pulls out of her really quickly and, like, throws away the condom. It's like, we need to get dressed. Come on. And instead of being like me, I would have been like, oh my god, it's my mom. Everybody, get dressed, get dressed, get dressed. Oh my gosh. Everybody, like, there's multiple people in my room. I have sex parties. No, he's like, come on, we need to get dressed. You need to meet my mother. And he's acting all calm, like she's not about to just burst into his room. Because from the sound of it, she was about to just, like, fling open the door like, he must be sick! He's never been at this time! But no, he's acting all blasé. And Anastasia very validly is like, I don't have any clean clothes here, dude. And he's just like, oh, you can just wear something of mine. Because I would totally want my sex partner to be my mother in my clothing. Especially, as a girl wearing his clothing. Or as a guy who's trying to squeeze into some girl's t-shirts and jeans. It's not going to work. It doesn't fit you properly. But he's like, come on, I want you there in like 5 minutes. And he's like, my t-shirts are here and my shirts are here and just help yourself. And she's like, yeah. So she finds like her, oh, she actually does find a pair of, no, I'm sorry, I didn't read properly. So she puts on her, bra and shirt and all that. And because she's a weirdo, she puts on a pair of his underwear, a pair of tight gray Calvin Kleins. And my thing is, if they're tight on her, how small is Christian's ass? Because I'm going to leave you with that. Anyway, she comes down and she's meeting this woman. And, because Christian's the way he is, I would have expected his mother to be kind of a Miranda Priestley type. But she's all like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Trevelyan Gray. And she's all smiley and happy. And she starts asking her just basic questions like, you're graduating, blah, blah. And then Jose calls. And, of course, the first thing he says is, Dios mío, because he's, E.L. James used to remind us that he's a Mexican, and Mexicans always say Dios mío because they need a racially appropriate catchphrase. Anyway, and he's whining all over the place like, I need to talk to you, I need to talk to you, because he has to be that sort of pathetic puppy dog character, because everyone here is a trope. Yay! So he comes back, and she comes back to the room, and they're still talking, and all of a sudden, Taylor, who's apparently Sebastian Michaelis, appears out of fucking nowhere and is like, let me escort you. And for those of you who don't know that, he is, Sebastian is the butler from Black Butler, and he's a demon, so he can fucking do whatever he wants. He's, like, here and there. He's not human. So, keep in mind that Taylor's out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, Christian's all pissed off, like, that photographer called you? What do you want? And then Taylor comes back out of friggin' nowhere and it's like, there's a problem with the Darfur shipment. And he goes, Charlie Tango back at Boeing Field. Do people actually speak like that outside of, the armed services and people who really, deal with planes like air traffic control? But whatever. And he gets all pissed off and answers the phone like, what's the issue with it? No, cancel the order and do an airdrop instead. And then he hands her the contract, and if you haven't joined me before, Christian said, I need you to sign a contract if you're going to be in a relationship with me. It's going to outline the terms and agreements, which I had a big problem with. But I mean, you know, I guess if you're really heavily into the dom and sub community, that's actually probably a really good idea. But, you know, I don't like it simply because she's not willingly entering into a dom and sub relationship. He's trying to force her into the kink lifestyle. And if for those of you who have not been keeping up with me, that is my problem with this whole thing. Like, once again, I don't mind if, you know, the dom and sub thing is your fetish. I know a couple people who are really into that. Or, you know, I imagine that there's a lot of people who would be totally fine with that kind of relationship, but it's kind of presumptuous to just assume someone's going to fall into your kink. Because that's what it is. It's his kink. He's a dom. That's his thing. And but those of you who don't know, dominant, someone who likes to dominate other people. I mean, I know the traditional images of a dominatrix, but he's a dominator. A dominatrix is a woman. And, you know, it's kind of rude and really rude to just be like, here, you, indulge in my fetish because I want you to. That's not how that works. The kink community, at least not the people who aren't assholes, are about being consensual. Anyway, and, oh, for those of you who don't remember, my nose ring is rotating, sorry. Anastasia is a student, so he hands her this contract, is like, you should probably research it, which is true. Always research any document you're handed, children. And she goes, I don't have a computer. I usually use the computers at school. I'm sorry, but in this day and age, every college student I know has some form of a computer. Because it's necessary to, like, write your papers and shit, and you use the school computers when yours is broken. And I'm not saying that those are people who cannot afford a computer, but I'm saying Anastasia comes obviously from a middle-class background. You know, she's not wanting for anything, so it seems natural to me that she should have a computer, but because she's a special snowflake, she just doesn't. And Christian's like, I'm sure I can find some solution for you. And he says, and Anastasia's like, I need to call Kate, but she doesn't say she wants to call Kate, she just needs to call somebody. And he gets all pissed off, like, remember, I don't like to share. Anyway, so they decide to leave and he's going to drive her back. And he's wearing a leather jacket for no reason. And Anastasia goes, he certainly doesn't look like a multimillionaire, billionaire, whatever heir in these clothes. He looks like a boy from the wrong side of the tracks, maybe a badly behaved rock star or a catwalk model. Ugh, so we can't escape without being told how inexplicably awesome he is. Because now he looks like a bad boy. Yeah. Whip those sunglasses off, just be like, hey, babe. Anyway, they decide to take the R8. And I hate that whenever she starts biting her lip, he threatens her in a sexual manner. Stop biting your lip or I'll fuck you in the elevator. Oh, Jesus, shut up. You're disgusting. And Christian goes on like, Kate, you can talk to Kate, but don't talk about Elliot because Elliot's nosy. I don't want to know what's up with his sex life and blah, 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 blah. And he adds here, basically, only tell Kate about what we've done so far. She'd probably have my balls if she knew what I wanted to do to you. And, of course, Anastasia's like, the thought of Kate with Christian's balls is not something I want to dwell on. But still, like, that should be an indicator. If your best friend is going to want to castrate the man that you're seeing for the stuff he wants to do to you, it's probably a sign that it's not a good thing to indulge in. But, what do I know? Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So he opens the door to her car, and my biggest pet peeve is when the car is resting on the fucking ground, because I hate having to duck into my cars. It's annoying. And they start driving, blur, blur, and they are listening to friggin' Bruce Springsteen, because who doesn't listen to Bruce Springsteen in an R8 Spider with the top down? Anyway, he decides they're going to go get lunch, and the waitress, of course, looks at Christian and is like, woo, woo, gets all flustered. And he's like, my mother liked you. She always thought I was gay because she never met me with one of the other 15. And yeah, he's explained to Anastasia he's been with 15 girls with his life. So they start talking. Mind you, they're in a restaurant right now. They're in a restaurant eating, and they start talking because she asks him what vanilla sex is. And I guess, you know, if you've just been, you know, fucked mercilessly, you want to know what it is. And then he goes on to tell her at the table, mind you, that one of his mother's friends seduced him when he was 15 years old, made him her submissive, and they had a ongoing relationship for a long time, and he was like, all I needed was her, blah, blah, and now he wants to be the dominant. I'm like, okay, and Anastasia notices it too. She's like, oh, he was just sexually abused as a child. And then, whatever, ongoing, blah, blah, and she says, what happened to the other 15, and he's like, they were incompatible, and she's like, you think I would be compatible? Me? I might be the compatible one? Anyway, fucking, it's just, God. And he's like, I really wish I could read your mind, and then he goes, well, I've gotten to know your body quite well since yesterday, because he's, I have no way to describe how annoying he is. Anywho, he invites her to dinner, she gets home, and she's talking to Kate, and the two of them are giggling all up like schoolgirls, like, Kate's like, oh my god, oh, Elliot, and Anastasia's like, oh my god, Christian, and they're just like, which is weird, and it's annoying me, and of course, Kate has to bring attention to the fact that, you got off on your first time? Oh my gosh, wow, I'm so impressed. Everyone's impressed with Anastasia, just fuck her. Anyway, talk about moving, Kate offers to cook, and then Anastasia ends up cooking anyway, and Jose calls and is being whiny again, and Anastasia's like, look, we're friends, that's all we're ever gonna be, we'll hang out sometime, and hangs up, blah blah. And then she starts feeling sorry for Christian like a young man deprived of his adolescence, sexually abused by some evil Mrs. Robinson figure. No wonder he's old before his time. Shh, 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 I don't want to hear it anymore, God, be quiet. And, anyway, they go to bed, and then finally she decides she's gonna start reading this contract. Now, the contract actually starts in chapter 11. Sorry, I have lights going on here. And that's where the contract starts. I actually read part of the contract. Actually, I read the whole contract, which brought me a few pages. Actually, I did not read the whole. Jesus, I skipped a couple pages. The contract basically says, in a nutshell, the submissive agrees to do what the dominant wants within reasons of bodily, spiritual, and mental health. That's all it says. Things like under the submissive, what's one of the clause? The submissive shall submit to any sexual activity demanded by the dominant and shall do so without hesitation or argument. Oh, good. So there goes freedom out the window. The submissive shall not look directly into the eyes of the dominant except when specifically instructed to do so. The submissive shall keep her eyes cast down and maintain a quiet and respectful bearing in the presence of the dominant. So basically he wants a nun-ish manner. I mean, I just think that's... Once again, before I go fucking insane, if this is your thing, like, if your kink is to be a submissive, that's the kind of behavior you're okay with. This is what's normal for you. But taking a normal, not normal, because people who have kinks are normal, but taking a non-submissive person off the streets and being like, I like you, I'm going to foist my lifestyle on you, it's fucking ridiculous. Christian's an asshole. He's just an asshole. He's, like, dressed in my clothes to meet my mother. And second of all, like, friggin', he's just weird. And we all knew he was an asshole to begin with. And every time they eat dinner, or lunch, or breakfast, or any food, he always, like, eat your food. Like he's her dad or something. Ugh. I don't like him. He drives me insane. Oh, and he, like, can't get through a normal conversation without saying something sexual. He said like a 12-year-old. You need to eat your food. Like I ate you last night. It's just, oh my god, it's annoying me. Ah, gosh, it's like, oh my god. Like, I've recently been watching Rock of Love, because I can, with Bret Michaels, and he's that kind of way too. Like, one minute he'll say something really sweet and nice, and be like, but I couldn't stop looking at her tits. He's like that! He's like that! Anna, you need to eat your food and be healthy, because if you're not healthy, I can't fuck you, because I'll break you in half. Ha ha! Ugh! Now I'm mad. Now I'm mad. It's 10 in the morning. I'm angry at life. Like and subscribe to my channel. Share this video with people, preferably over the age of 18, because I think this kind of stuff is, like, inappropriate for life, because this should not be published, and it should not be on the bestsellers list. I think I shook a page loose. Good! I hope it's the one later on. I'm only on chapter 10. I'm depressing myself. I'm on chapter 10. I have this much left to go. I mean, this is what I've read. This is what I need to read. I mean, I have a little over half to go. Like, this much brings me to about half, so. Still. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, leave me comments, share it. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Share it. And maybe I'll start doing these chapters when I first wake up, because it's a little less bearable when I'm still half asleep. Bye.